you should say.
Yes.
And we'll get the desk.
And Minister, I guess on what we're seeing with Gaza and the West Bank, is there a... I understand your desire to sort of move in lockstep with other middle powers, but is there a ratchet mechanism here? Is there a step to potentially, sanction leaders that don't respond to what would seem like very sensible calls from a large number of countries?
I might just outline some of what we've done, and then if Mr Griffith or Mr Isbister or anyone at the table can add to it. I think you are, I think all of us have received representations from members of the community about the conflict and particularly the atrocities in El Fasher, which we have condemned. As you know, as you may know, alongside the United Kingdom, South Africa, Sierra Leone and others, we called for and participated in a special session of the Human Rights Council to discuss the humanitarian catastrophe in Sudan. Unusually for the Senate, and I thank the opposition for their work on this, the Senate did pass a motion in solidarity with Sudanese Australians and to push for humanitarian access, safe passage for civilians and peace for Sudan. We issued a joint statement in early November condemning the atrocities and urging ceasefire, and I announced additional $10 million in assistance for civilians in Sudan, which takes our total assistance to over $60 million since 2023. Others can speak more to that. What I would say, Senator, is we obviously have limited influence in this conflict, and the focus to date has been working with through these multilateral mechanisms and delivering assistance through existing humanitarian UN and NGO partners.
Thank you.
And Senator Pocock, do you want me to add a little more about partners and how we're working on that? No?
I'm happy with the Minister's response. Okay. Thank you very much. In terms of Sudan, on the 5th of November, the government announced an additional $10 million in humanitarian assistance provided to support civilians in Sudan. Could you give me an update in terms of what that money is doing? Who's it going to? Has it hit the ground?
Yeah, sure. Senator Pocock again, Steve Scott, First Assistant Secretary, Humanitarian Division. So that was split, $7 million to what the OCHA Sudan Humanitarian Fund. So what it is, OCHA. Yeah, Office for the Coordination of Humanitarian Assistance. And they work through, they can fund UN agencies, they also fund a lot of local civil society organisations as well. So just in terms of some of the results that they achieve, they prioritise work in the health sector, nutrition, water and sanitation, and also shelter services and obviously protection, because there's a huge protection element in this crisis. Some results, these are actually from last year's activation to the Sudan Humanitarian Fund, because obviously we haven't received results yet from this recent activation. There, 750,000 people were assisted, including over 400,000 women and girls, and people with disabilities. This is around those sectors I talked to you about. There was also another 125,000 people almost receiving agricultural inputs and livelihood support, and another 41,000 people who are reached with non-food items and shelter assistance. So, and we'll expect similar outcomes again from the latest round of funding. And then $3 million went through what we call the Australian Humanitarian Partnership. That's with our biggest NGOs, that partnership, and the partner that was successful for that one was World Vision. Their focus is on protection activities, support for women and girls and victims of survivors and gender-based violence.
Thank you. And do you know of that 7 and 3 million, how much has been delivered yet?
Well, the contracts have been written with the partners. We'll have to get updates on how that's being expensed.
Okay. Thank you. And acknowledging that there are indirect contributions through the UN Central Emergency Response Fund,
yep.
As the Minister outlined, is the government considering further assistance? considering what we're seeing, this is a huge scale of suffering, and just wondering what the plan is.
Thank you, Senator. And I should say, if you want an update on the UN Security Council sanctions on Sudan that we are part of, Ms Sidhu can give this, but your point about additional humanitarian, it is... there is ongoing unmet need, and particularly in the humanitarian space, as well as the broader development space. And we, unlike other donors and development partners, have not cut development assistance as a number have. There is also a consequence to a set of decisions to prioritise our development assistance and humanitarian assistance, particularly on our region. So 75% of our development assistance is spent in the Indo-Pacific. It is true that what we can contribute to Africa is far less than would be needed, but that is a consequence of when you have a constrained budget. We do prioritise our region where we believe we have more expertise and more capacity to assist and get better outcomes. And I have brought more development assistance into the region, but this is, I'm not pretending to you that the need in Sudan is not enormous. It is. It's a very tragic situation, and there's an enormous amount of human suffering, and some of the reports of what has occurred are really it's outrageous. I'm just being upfront with you. We could double the development budget, and we still would not, or the ODA budget, and we still would not meet the humanitarian needs that the globe is seeing. Mm-hmm. And this is a problem for many countries, particularly as development and humanitarian assistance is reduced.
Mm-hmm. Thank you. Well, thank you very much. Thanks, Chair.